All right, so after that, after that, I'm very grateful for that donation, bringing us up to 69. Uh, let's take a little bit of a peek here at Artificer spells and infusions and see what we can assign to our squad based on who they are inside of it. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. You're going to get a little bit of an exposure of what we do as a workshop. Now, if you have a question or even a suggestion, you are welcome to throw it out in chat. This is not lecture time with Maddie Morgs. This is conversation time with all of us sitting at a table and hanging out and having fun. If you remember, what we were trying to convey with building 5 artificers, well, it's a couple things. One, we're playtesting this new Unearthed Arcana material, our Artificer 2.0. And to do that, I wanted to test it from different random angles to see if something seems broken, deficient, or like super wombo combo, things along those lines. As well, it's a good reminder that on a team, it's okay to have several bards, or several barbarians, or several fighters, because they're all unique characters. If you're building your character for the character, and you're not building the character for the mechanics, you can have some very unique setups. And so here, we made a party of 5. We base it off of actually another Unearthed Arcana, which was discussing the role of officers aboard a sailing ship. And so we used that as some inspiration to make this squad of 5 elite soldiers. They were all artificers for whatever reason, and they've been sent out on some kind of a mission that we're going to flesh out. We could probably flesh that out tomorrow, to give an adventure outline. I've been thinking of multi-classes lately, mainly Bard, Druid for a strange reason. The idea, just in treating me, what are your ideas on multi-classes? Multi-classing is a lot of fun. In fact, English Mudkip, one of our artificers is a multi-class artificer and a berserker barbarian. And I thought it turned out excellently. In 5th edition, it's very difficult to make a bad character. If you want to go Bard Druid, I think you can have a lot of fun doing that. Yeah, 5 spellcasters who do such a silly thing. Yeah, clearly you'd have someone like a barbarian in the party or whatever at some point, right? That would never work. Especially in a wild magic zone, huh? All right, so our five officers here, or our 5 elite soldiers. We have our cook, which was the ships and sea reflection, right? So she's kind of the support staff. We made her into an alchemist subclass artificer, and she was full orc. In fact, orcs out of Volos get -2 to intelligence. And you say, all right, well, how does that work then? Like, they're an intelligence class. Why are you taking a negative intelligence? Why are you taking a negative intelligence monster race to make him an artificer? Because we can, and there's a very good reason for that. Not all spells require attack rolls or saving throws. You can run a not so optimized, you could run a wizard at 14th level. Are you going to be super effective? No. Can you cast a lot of spells without worry? Yes. And in fact, what's nice here is a lot of the rituals Well, I'm glad, by the way, that they identify what the rituals are. But you could have a low intelligence artificer be very effective. In fact, take a look. So here's Dunboot the Brand Fast Hand. We actually gave him a 14 intelligence as a level 14 out of 20 character. And he casts off of intelligence. How could he operate on a team? How could he be useful? That seems dumb. Not that a 14 score is dumb necessarily, but, you know, why would you ever make an intelligence-based character like that? And the reason being, look at who he is on the team, right? He's a leader. He is the commanding officer. And with a low intelligence like that, if he wants to support the team, we could give him rituals to cast. We could give him spells such as jump, that there are no rolls involved. Whether you have infinite intelligence or you are just barely intelligent enough to count as a sentient being, jump is jump. And so we can have a character here that has these style of spells that are going to help support the team. He'll always have something to do, and there you go. Now, we did make a super intelligent one. Old Gaffer Ropehand here. We maxed out his intelligence, right? He's an old guy. We rolled that this is his last adventure ever. He's 84, and as a tiefling, that's it. Like, part of your tail's in the grave already. And so he's just been around forever. He's collected a lot of knowledge and is very, keen on sharing that knowledge. Especially as that's what his personality trait indicates, right? Because we start with our background, we build our characters to who they are, not just what they do, or to say, well, automatically, duh, intelligence should clearly be the highest stat always. It could be. It doesn't have to be. Hey, TJ, welcome. If Bright's any example, you can have a wizard tank in a way with mage armor, shield, and mirror image. Yeah. And a dirty secret to 5th Ed, arguably rogues are the best tanks. Yeah, like beating Final Fantasy with 4 white mages. An Eldritch Knight still counts? Still counts as what, English Mudkip? If it counts as a caster, then yeah, you can cast spells. You're a 1/3 caster. Yep, you dodge all the things. You're quick, you dodge, you can just, like, negate damage. You end up getting 3 saves, let alone if you take any feats to super specialize in that. You're currently enjoying... You're enjoying the heck out of your Blade Singer at the moment. I mean, hell's fine. I'm just saying heck because it's a little bit of a meme at that point with keeping things that, safe for work PG-13. That DPR though, Coffee Cat. The supervillain's wizard we made has a nice reflex save. Got to love elves. That's right, that bulk AC. Bulk. So the spells we'll get to, and I don't know, depending on how much time it takes to go through the infusions, we can save that even for another discussion. Because all of these spells, with the exception of a brand new one, that is an Artificer spell only. And let's go to that real quick. The new spell is Arcane Weapon. It takes a bonus action, range self, verbal somatic components. You can concentrate on this spell up to an hour. You channel arcane energy into one simple or martial weapon you're holding, and choose one damage type: acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra 1d6 damage of the chosen type to any target you can hit with the weapon. If the weapon isn't magical, it becomes a magic weapon for the spell's duration. As a bonus action, you can change the damage type, choosing from the options above. And at higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you can maintain your concentration on the spell for up to 8 hours. By the way, that's why con is a very important, is an important, like, backup for not just artillerists, but for artificers. I was going to say arcanist, but arcanists are in Final Fantasy XIV. But let's look at the infusions. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that spells it. I went too far, everyone. I went too far. Artificers have invented numerous magical infusions that rapidly create magic items. To the untrained, artificers seem like wonder workers, accomplishing in hours what others need weeks to complete. The description of each infusion tells you the type of item that can receive it. The description also tells you that if the resulting magic item requires attunement. Some infusions specify a minimum artificer level. You can't learn such an infusion until you are at least that level. Unless an infusion's description says otherwise, you can't learn the infusion more than once. And by the way, with infusions, I'm going to go back here real quick. You get this at 2nd level. This is like invocations with warlocks in a way. When you gain this feature, pick 3 infusions to learn, choosing from the infusion section at the end of the class's description. You learn additional infusions of your choice, etc., so forth. When you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the artificer infusions you learned with a new one. Similar to, you know, how a fixed list caster like Bard or Sorcerer isn't so fixed, because you can swap out a spell when you level up. And infusing an item, whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical object and imbue it with one of your artificer infusions, turning it into a magic item. And it's getting a bit back into this. Your infusion remains on an item indefinitely, but when you die, the infusion vanishes after a number of days have passed equal to your intelligence modifier. The infusion also vanishes if you give up your knowledge of the infusion for another one. You can infuse more than one non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appear in the infused items column of the Artificer table. You must touch each of the objects, and each of your infusions can be in only one object at a time. If you try to exceed your maximum number of infusions, the oldest infusion immediately ends, and the new infusion applies. Remember, Artificer is a more complex cast. There's a lot of things to track. There's a lot more. This is more of an advanced class, I would say. And so if you're going to run this, make sure that you're familiar with it, because there's just a lot to follow. Take care, I'll be back for sure, but for now the pillow beckons. Luke, hey, thanks for finding us, taking a chance, and clicking on this channel, hanging out and talking. I know for some it could be intimidating, like, who are these people? Or, oh, it's a closed community, they all know each other, I'm going to be the outsider, I'm going to be the new guy. But you know what? You did it. I had fun. It was a pleasure to meet you. Have an awesome sleep, and I look forward to seeing you again, Luke. Hey, Misfit, welcome. So let's take a look at these infusions. Boots of the Winding Path. It does require a pair of boots, and the item requires attunement. While wearing these boots, a creature can teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action to an unoccupied space the creature can see. The creature must have occupied that space at some point during the current turn. Someone like this then might be good at jumping around, is very mobile. Maybe someone who uses spears or javelins wants to run forward, launch, and then get that little bit of extra movement back. Or you could even do it to charge with a melee weapon, right? You're 30 feet away. You run up. You run up 30 feet. You slash with your weapon, and then as a bonus action, boop, you zip back 15 feet. Or heck, if you want to make it even more difficult, let's say that you are only 15 feet away. You move 15 up, you swing, bonus action to go back 15 feet, then move another 15 feet away. Now, that's still 30 feet away from the enemy. You know, they could charge you, presumably, but you can see where you're having fun with this. And this doesn't mean that you can't cross gaps or other things with this item. Enhanced defense. Creature gains +1 bonus to armor class while wearing armor or wielding a shield. Or just effectively while wearing or wielding the infused item. And it increases to a +2 at 12th level. This seems like a very bread and butter. I mean, you're like, come on, you want maximum AC, and maybe you do. Just remember that it's not... It is one or the other, right? Wearing or wielding. Enhanced weapon gets a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls, and it goes up to a +2 at 12th level. The many-handed pouch is interesting. The infused pouches all share one interdimensional space of the same capacity as a single pouch. Thus, reaching into any of the pouches allows access to the same storage space. A pouch operates as long as it is within 100 miles of another one of the pouches. The pouch is otherwise empty and won't accept any contents. If this infusion ends, the item stored in the shared space moved into one of the pouches determined at random. The rest of the pouches become empty. This is something that probably our commanding officer would take, and the other pouches would go to everyone else so that you can maintain communication. You want to move silently, sketch something on a piece of paper and shove it in the pouch, and others can read it, right? And think about this. It has a range of 100 miles. That's pretty good. Can you imagine dispatch offices every 99 miles away from each other that act as a bit of a telegram, right? But not just for messages, because there's magic that does that. If you can fit something into that pouch, you can transport relatively inexpensively, money, items. You have a bit of a Pony Express that's magical. It's pouch based. Now you're going to want to talk to your DM about, well, what counts as a pouch? Can I fit a dagger in a pouch? Because it's kind of a large pouch. Do you just like saying the word pouch? Maybe. Did you get a 1 on that? 1 and 6. Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Radiant weapon. +1 bonus to attack and damage. While holding it, you can take a bonus action to cause it to shed bright light. As a reaction immediately after being hit by a melee attack, the wielder can cause the attacker to be blinded until the end of the attacker's next turn. Versus a con save. Once used, this reaction can't be used again until the wielder finishes a short or long rest. And I do want to point out that Artificers are proficient with light, heavy, and hand crossbows. And this says, it's to a magic weapon. It just says the wielder. So after hit by a melee attack, the wielder can cause the attacker to be blinded. So you could enchant a crossbow with this as it's written. And so you're shooting at a +1 to hit, +1 to damage. But if you're hit, the light burst poof, comes off of the crossbow. Oh, snap. D&D time / Trustaflump is here. Everyone, please give an applause, a cheer. Please give some emote love to D&D time, a.k.a. Trustaflump. Because that man just ran 3 back-to-back one-shots over on D&D time. He was put to the test. He had to react under a lot of a lot of very interesting circumstances, and so he deserves a cheer, a beer, that little sippy thing. So cheers. Let's give you some more cheers even. And one more. What's one more? There we go. Oh, all the emote spam for our champ Trustaflump, who just tanked those 3 encounters with those nefarious player characters again. I love it. Y'all are wonderful, by the way. Oh, also, y'all want a quick little sneak peek of something? Ooh. What? Oh, whoa! What's this? Dun 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 da 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 da. Oh. Oh. Hey.
Import. Let's grab some more minis to celebrate film stimming.
How about another tier 1 emote? I'm showing a little bit of ankle, everyone. This is still the concept phase, but you might be seeing this soon. But another tier 1 emote for y'all. I'm going to take this back. Wiggles joyously. Yes, all the thoughts. Trustaflump is getting all of the thoughts. But because I want to make it tier 1, anytime someone pops open a box, I want you all to just spam that emote. What's inside? I wanted to. I was talking to the artist and I said I want it modeled after Who's That Pokemon. And so instead of a silhouette coming out of like a Pokeball or whatever, it's a box opening up with like a bright flash and a question mark. It is a mini emote, Misfit. And I do tease. I do indeed tease. So Trustaflump here. So again, congratulations on running on tanking that encounter tonight on D&D time. I'm bored. Let's grab some more minis to celebrate Flump's DMing. This is which set would you like? Pardon me. And did you want the full pull? Did you want the 18? And is the 2 going to the TwitchCon? Or what's the breakdown of this, Misfit? And 2 to the TwitchCon. Well, thank you very much for that. We're now leaving $69 and going to $71. That's greatly appreciated. It had to be dismissed. So you have to apologize to Diadems for that. Which box would you like, Misfit? Did you still want to go for Dragon Heist? Are you going to be the one who finally pulls the Volo? Diadem says lame sauce. Stick to Volo. All right. We'll check it out. Also, Flump, we're discussing... We made our 5th Artificer. who's the commanding officer of this squad. And after doing so, and by the way, we made him a gunslinger, like pistol, shield, and we gave him, well, we randomly rolled, as you know, but of the 3 ASIs, he got 3 feats. So we gave him sharpshooter, keen mind, and resilient dex. And you can take a look at how this turned out. And also, because the fact that the turrets only have to be on a horizontal surface, the fact that we made a wagon right character means that this squad of artificers is rolling around on effectively like the world's first tank, right? You make a big old wagon, it's a horizontal surface in the bed of it, and there you go. So that could be some fun stuff for you to consider when you all have your fun on Sunday, which, by the way, while we're talking theoretics and we're stress testing the Artificer from a random build perception, or I guess a conception, right? Especially with that awesome Barbarian Artificer multi-class we built. If you want to see the rubber hit the road, or I guess the rubber meets the road, go to D&D time on Sunday. Flumph, you are welcome to put a link over to your channel and talk about the day and time. You want to see Artificers in action? Flumph has you covered. Artificer can mobilize it somehow without a horse. Well, as we're looking into our infusions, let alone our spells, which are up here. We get we do get animate objects. Oh, do we not get why am I not remembering? You summon horses, magic steed or magic mount or something like that. That's right. We'll be streaming an all Artificer adventure, AAA, AAA, 6 p.m. Pacific, so 9 p.m. Eastern. Oh, Phantom Steed, that's the one. Yeah, Phantom Steed would be cool, but you know what? Given all of the proficiencies, all the tool proficiencies that a party like this would have, they could probably just build a mechanical horse, right? Or because they have things like creation, animate objects, fabricate, they may not be able to make a magical beast that can haul the cart. They'll just make an engine. They'll make a mechanical horse or a mechanical mule. Let's go real quick over, not to Ravnica, but to Waterdeep, and find out what is in Misfits' box. We begin with a Human Sun Soul Monk. Oh yeah, make a nice Sterling engine. Next up, we have, well, a named figure in Waterdeep. He's not Volo, but his name is Mert. And this is a fantastic mini, by the way. I love this miniature. Stop monkeying around. Wah, wah, wah. Next up, we have a spy. And he means business. The dagger is down. Camera. There we go. And lastly, Misfit, you have a large figure, and that is an Ennis hag casting a spell out of her hand. I love throwing assassins at my groups, right? Kind of like in Fallout or something. You get an amount of karma with the wrong faction, and they send folks to fix it. All right, Misfit, there's your box. I come to D&D to forget about my parents. The jokes. Everyone, you come for D&D, you stay for the humor. And gotta reach it. There we go. A replacement box as we dwindle the brick of Dragon Heist ever further down. Thank you very much for adopting some minis there, Misfit. All right. After that, well, we'll get to replicate magic item. The other, I guess, standalone ones are resistant armor. While wearing this armor, a creature has resistance to one of the following damage types, which you choose when you infuse the item: acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, necrotic, poison, psychic, radiant, or thunder. Good selection. A returning weapon, a simple or martial weapon with the thrown property. This magic weapon grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it, and returns to the wielder's hand immediately after it's used to make a ranged attack. Pretty convenient, huh? And then we come to replicate magic item. Using this infusion, you replicate a particular magic item. You can learn this infusion multiple times. Each time you do so, choose a different magic item that you make with it, picking from the replicable magic items table below. If a table has a level in its title, you must be of at least that level in this class to choose an item from the table. In the tables, an item's entry tells you whether the item requires attunement. See the item's description in the Dungeon Master's Guide for more information about it, including the type of object required for its making. There's a lot here. And remember, I mean, no one Artificer is going to get all this, just like no one Warlock is going to get all of the invocations. So you got to pick and choose, and that's why I wanted to talk about these items and invocations. These items and infusions, because these are going to add a flair. These are character developing, role developing things, right? Just like with a Warlock, you want to be a sneaky sneak. Take that one where you blend in with shadows. Pardon. Or you can cast Alter Self at will. Oh my gosh. So we want to make a, so here we have, Dunboot, the Brand Fasthand, is the commanding officer. He's someone who's, you know, he's quick, he's dexterous, he has to shout out orders. He's probably going to take, the many-handed pouch, so he can hand out these pouches to everyone in the crew. And that way he can pass notes along, right? And he is the one who's facilitating conversation. Now, this is as a 4th level Artificer. We get 3 at level 2. Now, of course, I don't know, let's say that we take, you know, A, B, and C. And then, you know, we realize, boy, we're, at 6th level, we really want to take F. You can go back and replace B with F when you hit 6th level, when you level up. And F can actually be a level 4 minimum, because we're level 6 when we're replacing our level 2. I hope that this isn't sounding confusing. Stuff like this can be when you have elements like this, again, like a bard or a sorcerer's spell list, which is fixed, but it's not fixed. Even warlocks can, you know, you can shuffle stuff around here. And so that's a part of the danger when we're building characters of 14th level. You know, we have to make sure that what are we making, right? And when did the person take it? If he took many-handed pouch at the minimum level, you have to be 4 and you get your 4th infusion at level 4. This one's probably going to be pretty easy. So we can give him the many-handed pouch. He'll probably also take the sending stones. So that if he sends someone out on a particular mission and you want to have walkie-talkies, that's what sending stones are. He'll probably take I don't know, we can call it like RMI. Or we could probably just say sending stones, but whatever. RMI sending stones. Right? These are things that are very thematic for him to have. And we could even tell a story, you know, of him learning to be an artificer, going through to the trials and tribulations, and then he has to relearn something because in a pinch he has to adapt. You know, he has to MacGyver his way out of a situation, right? MacGyver's an artificer. He has to MacGyver out of this, and so he comes up with a formula, and so something else happens. And by the way, again, remember, you always have options. As an artificer, you should be aware. I can't even say as a dungeon master, I'm aware of everything, or especially if there's a more nuanced magic item. I'm not even aware of all the magic items. Cloak of the Manta Ray and Cap of Water Breathing do seem very... they seem very... obvious, right? Cap of Water Breathing, you put it on, you can breathe water. Cloak of the Manta Ray, you put it on and you get a swim speed. I'm fairly certain. Goggles of Night, you get dark vision. But for something like, geez, Wand of Secrets. Offhand, I can't tell you what a Wand of Secrets does. I'll have to go look it up. But that being said, because it's one of the many options an Artificer has, you have to be aware of so much that you could possibly do. Either on your current level during the adventure, or if you want to replace something with something else. That way you're not going to slow down the game. You're not going to be a bottleneck. Yes, sending stones, oh, they're great. You have little walkie-talkies. So for any of you who have your Dungeon Master's Guide handy as a PDF or as a physical book, bust out your DMG. By the way, so this is explosives. If you want to read about firearms and dynamite and grenades, 268. Page 268. If you want to go to magic items, starting alphabetically, 150. Right? And so if we want to go to sending stones, and you say, well, what do sending stones do? There's a fun little picture of two, like, elven faces. There we go. Sending stones come in pairs, with each smooth stone carved to match the other so the pairing is easily recognized. While you touch the stone, you can use an action to cast the sending spell from it. The target is the bearer of the other stone. If no creature bears the other stone, you know that fact as soon as you use the stone and don't cast the spell. Once sending is cast through the stones, they can't be used again until the next dawn. If one of the stones in a pair is destroyed, the other becomes non-magical. I'm sorry, it's not like super active walkie-talkies, but you can use it if you're in a pinch. You got to get a message out. The bag is kind of like a walkie-talkie for the written word, or to transport small items. Well, if you want them, you may be able, if you make it to a city that sells it, or if you all want to have some downtime to craft, I'm fine with you all having downtime. You know, the interesting thing about Tuesday is that there's not a hard deadline, and there's not exactly a hard villain or someone that's chasing you. There are events in motion, and it's up to you. You know, how quickly do you want to address them or research it or prevent something from happening? But if you all want to take some downtime in order to craft, in order to purchase, in order to, I don't know, do something else, you know, I'm open-minded to that. So we have stuff like that. Rope climbing, you know, good support. Goggles of night. Well, not everyone here has dark vision. In fact... Oh, does everyone here have dark vision? Maybe everyone does on this team. Oh, then I stand corrected. So maybe goggles of night isn't going to be appropriate for this area. But I'll tell you, Ellie, as an alchemist, as the cook, right? She's the support staff. She can scrounge. She can make a meal out of whatever. You give her 2 leaves, a twig, and a handful of bugs, and she'll make you an awesome, like, the soul food of orcish cuisine. And it'll actually be tasty and wonderful. So she then might take RMI alchemist jug. Because you know what? Good camp food isn't the same unless you can scoop out handfuls of fresh mayonnaise from a clay jar that you've been carrying around on your back all summer. We're poor, couldn't craft right now if we wanted to. Well, yeah, you could take up jobs. You could, you know, you could sell stuff along the way, information, items, services. It's all there. Got to remember, the more time you take, the more time the baddie has to further his plans. Yes, you are correct, Misfit. That's Jade would be for a very, very specific clientele. Whew, the fact that you can just make bags of holding. My gird. Now, in my campaign world, actually, it sounds like one of those phrases, right? Well, in my campaign world, that would be, whoop, scratched off. The many-handed pouch, I allow teleportation. So, is that really extra-dimensional space? It doesn't replicate anything, and it's still just a pouch. It's a pouch that has different access. For sure, I would scratch bag of holding off of the list. That said, in this party that we're making, I'm sure someone can make bags of holding. Sell Mordecai for medical experiments. I mean, the person who'd be most interested in that is already in the party. You know, if Mordecai somehow consented to it, I'm sure that Celine would be very willing to explore the undead condition of Mordecai with explicit detail with her not lewd, medical, and medically accurate sketches, or etchings. Lewd etchings. I mean, medical etchings. Celine does, but she's always kind of studied you from a distance. Hum. At this level, I made a little oopsie on this character because we can only infuse 4 items at 14th. So that should be 4 infused items. So that said, we're gonna have to have some redundancy, right? If we have a squad of 5, and if we want everyone to have magic armor, then we're gonna have to juggle that around some, right? At least until the squad gets up in level, and then one person can distribute all of the pluses to armor, and someone can distribute something else. Now I should go back and to get it into my own mind and make sure that we're prepared for it. Um, well, you know, unless I either miss something or it's implied, an item can only have one infusion on it at a time. So you wouldn't be able to have, you know, Artificer A infuse your armor with enhanced defense, and then Artificer B infuse the same armor with resistant armor. Yeah, you can only have one infusion on an item. So you can't have enhanced defense and resistant armor. And particularly, because for enhanced defense, because it's a hard ore, you wouldn't be able to have Artificer A enhance armor and Artificer B enhance... Well, no, I don't think you could have armor and shield. So granted, you know, the shield is a separate item, but the infused armor would, I guess, mechanically not allow for an infused shield. Yes, it does say... it does say that you touch a non-magical item. Let me go back up to it real quick. You touch a non-magical object and imbue it with one of your Artificer infusions. So you make the mundane magical. As an Artificer, that's your shtick. And so let's say that we do want, if we want to have coverage, we want two people to have enhanced defense. Or we go in one enhanced defense and one with resistant armor. We can take a look at our squad and say, all right, so who would really be the one to do that? Well, we do have this quartermaster who's responsible for, you know, accounting of the objects and going from there. But she should probably only do one of those. Because you want someone else who can, if she uses all of her infused items on armor, that's it, right? She's not making anything else. So she could probably take, where are you? Enhanced defense. And then we have Gaffer here, who's is a hermit, but this was our bosun. And our bosun is, for our land army equivalent, we said was like, our commanding officer of the party is going to be like Riker. He is the medium for the orders coming down. The bosun is going to be the sergeant who is bringing the standards and organization up in order to meet those demands. And so our bosun here, or our sergeant, which if we're talking about roles as a soldier, we can even look at that. Not as the official background, but if we just take a look at quartermaster, standard bearer, support staff, cavalry, healer, infantry, scout, or officer. This would probably be another officer role, or we could... because we have our quartermaster, we have our surgeon, who's our healer, and then we have our cook, who's our support staff. So probably cook, blacksmith, or the like. So bosun, probably someone who's keeping things in ship shape. So support staff, if we're going to use the general terms that are presented there. But if you have specific military knowledge, then, you know, apply it to your own elite squad of soldiers. And so this character then would probably take something like resistant armor. First Sergeant, that's right. Hey, Syart, welcome. Good morning to you. Does a human body count as a non-magical object? No, Black Wolf. Because you are... you are not an object. Don't objectify yourself. Back in the studio and back to work, Syart. Aye, aye, Captain. I have extensive military knowledge, Call of Duty veteran, 2 tours. That's right. I bought and I even got the DLC even for the bad ones. That is my commitment. Volvo pops up. Welcome, Volvo. Volvo, we've been talking Artificers. We've been popping boxes of minis. It's been a good night. Welcome. Now, none of our characters, since we gen them at 14, are going to be able to make level 16s. However, you can see this extensive list after level 12. And remember, we could go back. And so we have level 12, 13, and 14. So we could go back and replace lower level infusions. You know, if we want to give out Gauntlets of Ogre power, which could be cool, right? You just equip the team. You can do that. A Helm of Telepathy would be very interesting. That might be one that Dunboot, that our commander takes again to be able to give orders, to give him a Helm of Telepathy. So make sure that you're reviewing this. Look, there's a lot of items in here, and to go back and forth between this and the DMG is going to take a long time. But I want to make sure that the idea is out there about what are you going to do. And remember, you know, as Tressaflum said, this can be limiting. If Dunboot, no, for what we have, we're going to say, all right, Lierza Livik can make, well, she can actually make 3 infused items because she's multi-classed. As a level 8 artificer, you can only do 3 items. So she can't hand out, of all the infusions she knows, she can only infuse 3 items. And so if one day she wants to hand out enhanced defense suits of armor to her compatriots, she can only make 3. So for a character like this, she might be better off taking infusions that are going to be maybe more pure support, kind of like the leader. I'm going to make useful items that you can always use. And if needed, I can dump them for something else, but really, my existence as an infuser is to make sure that these 3 particular items are always available to us. Now, we get over to, Gaffer, and Gaffer can enchant 4, and soon to be 5. And if he goes resistant armor, well, there's 5 people in the crew. 4 of his items can be resistant armor, but he can't then also have an alchemical jug or what else? Gauntlets of Ogre power or a Wand of Secrets, Boots of Elven Kind, that kind of a thing. So he's kind of dumping. He's kind of dumping everything else that he does if he wants to put all of his infusions into one that's spread out throughout the party. But you know what would be interesting? This could make for a very good uniform, right? Everyone wears boots for enchanting, gloves for enchanting, helmets for enchanting, and so now we can conceptualize if at any point in time our artificers are ready to enchant something, should they need to. You know, take a look at some of the things that that all of them would have to be able to wear. Gloves, boots. These might seem obvious, but you can present your character in such a way. I have such a strong habit of saying hi to people in a certain way now that I struggle to not do it all the time. Say hi however you'd like, Black Wolf. I mean, necromancers are already artificers of the undead. That's a good way of looking at it, Coffee. And then probably to finish out this segment, because we're discussing the infusions, we're discussing spells. Come on, where are you? There we go. If you're going to build a strike team like this, or even if you only have one artificer in a team of 4 or 5, are you running support? Are you a leader? The type of spells that you would choose normally are going to speak volumes to that, as well as the spells that you're going to choose. Gaffer Ropehand, we maxed out his intelligence. He's probably going to take spells that... he's going to take more spells. It's a mutable list. You can change them out every morning when you wake up. But a lot of his spells are going to be more like save. You know, save against this. Save against this this spell effect. I dare you. Try and meet minds with this old man who's not afraid to die because he already has one tail in the grave. Or it'll be, let's see, he's an artillerist. So it'll be Fireball, or it'll be Scorching Ray. He'll fire Scorching Rays and be accurate with it because he's very keen. And so he is going to be the magical version of our leader who is using firearms, right? Our medic, you know, someone who is signed up as an artificer to play healing support. You know, our cook, well, I'm sorry, we have a medic and we have a cook. So we go to our medic. Our medic is most likely going to be taking, where are you? Cure Wounds, right? Spare the Dying. Maybe Guidance. Maybe False Life. Lesser Resto. Though there's a point when you actually kind of get that for free. Protection from Poison. So this Artificer was built with this medical role in mind. Meaning that, yes, again, we can change our spells up with the exception of our, well, his alchemist spells. Those are fixed, like oath spells and whatnot. But this Artificer, for the most part, is going to have a medical support staff spell list. Oh, Coffee, you're taking off. You're going to head to bed. Sleepy boy, sleepy. Coffee Cat, be well, my friend. I'll pull that Beholder aside and put it in a trade pile. So if anyone wants to trade for a zombie Beholder, they can contact you. Kind of. A False Life. False Life gives you temporary hit points. So you can stay up a little bit longer, right? Blush of Life is, well, kind of cosmetic, but it might be an interesting two sides of the same coin. If we take a look here at Ellie, who's our cook, you know, she's the support staff. So she might also take, Cure Wounds, right? Having 2 characters in a squad of 5 with Cure Wounds, not too terrible. Though she might take stuff like Expeditious Retreat, or she might take Fly or Gaseous Form. Things that aren't directly medical, but things that are going to be offering support. And here's an interesting crossover, because she's not the most, she's definitely, as a level 14 character, not maxed out in intelligence. Which would mean that if we want to give her support spells, we're probably going to, we're going to take things like Haste, or Jump, or Dark Vision, that do not require saves or rolls. Because she doesn't have the best intelligence. I mean, we can. I mean, a 16, that's, you know, average, above average. That's not terrible. And especially if we're talking a campaign that's going to be high in magic items. I mean, geez, you could just put a circlet of intellect on, and then some gauntlets and such. And you can turn, you know, a level 0 commoner into the Hulk or whatever, or the Grey Hulk, strength and intelligence. But if you get what I'm saying here, we're playing to the character's role in the party. And also to the fact that not all artificers have to have a high intelligence to be effective and to still have options to cast something or to shoot something or to hit something every turn. You know, we come over to Gaffer. Gaffer is, you know, he's that support staff. He has maximum spells. This is your magical gunner. Our intelligence is lower on our leader, but that's because he's gonna be shooty, and he's not gonna learn as many spells, but he's gonna take spells that might help him enhance party cohesion. He might take a cure spell. I mean, look, he can only learn 9 on top of the things that he gets for being an artificer. He can only learn 9. So, you know, he might learn a more universal spells for the group so that he can be a good leader and focus on that. Because really, if he's casting spells, he's not necessarily trying to hit with them or trying to force saves in a clutch situation. He's shooting because that's what he's good at doing. You know, he wants to use some strategy. He wants to use his speed and dexterity instead. Diadems is calling out Trustaflumph. And so as we're doing this theoretical build of Artificers, I want you all to remember that. Artificers, you know, in other editions, I think back to 4th. In 4th, you're another cleric. Oops, dart in your neck, but it's full of Healy juice, so it feels good. And, you know, and so you were this leader role that, you know, you're a healer, a buffer, that kind of a thing. You have a lot of options for Artificer here. And you don't have to run an optimal Artificer. You can run, you want to have a run-and-gun Artificer, go, you know, medium intelligence and max out your dex, right? Have fun with it. You know, especially if you ended up taking a feat and you got mage armor. You know, if you can imagine this, mage armor on this character would give an 18 armor class. Actually, no, because you can cast that defense on a shield, not just armor. You can have mage armor plus your dex, so that's 13, plus dex is 16, plus shield is 18, plus the magic on the shield means that this character can have a 20 AC. Not bad, huh? Night chat, listening while I sleep. All right, Black Wolf, rest well, my friend. I don't want to hear it flump. I still have a small list, but I am bitless. Oh, Trustaflumph is satisfied? Well, you can always peck at, you know, Storm Kings or Tomb of Annihilation or whatever if you want. So the versatility of the Artificer is... it's that. You have so many options. So many builds. Look at this. Here, this is our multi-class. This is our Berserker Barbarian Pew Pew Artificer. Our Artificer Artillerist. She can get up into combat, right? And she'll just savage people while getting support from her turret. She still has plenty of options as an Artificer to buff herself, to make her weapons magical, to do all of this other stuff, you know, as she's attacking off of strength. So we have a melee Artificer. She's not going to be the best at dexterity. You know, she's going to rely on armor, on magic armor and such. Because, yeah, she has a decent con, not too good of dex for adding to an AC or for adding to mage armor or the like. And so we have this multi-class character. We have a savage melee Artificer, but she is going to be more reliant on the magic item buffs to make up for that. But she is a viable character. You can do a lot of cool stuff with this. In fact, not just due to her class abilities, if we take a look, we randomly rolled that she is a cartwright. She builds wagons. She is the one who has developed the quite literal platform for her and the 2 other artillerists to make a tank. And so they have their own danger wagon. They can just go from adventure to adventure. And so she's very smart for a barbarian. You know, she has the 2nd highest intelligence. She has intelligence and strength. But she's not the most defensive, straight up. But she can rely on that magic. I keep saying "but" a lot. I'm trying to improve my pauses, ums, ahs, buts, and repetitiveness. I'm trying to actively catch myself doing that, so you might see me correct that a little bit more often as I'm making this conscious effort. But we have a unique character. But I don't need to say that. We have a unique character. We do. She's right here. Multi-classed into something that perhaps many people never considered viable. Why would you put a barbarian with an intelligence casting class? Here it is, and it works magnificently. And honestly, she doesn't need to worry about being hit because she's probably going to be reckless attacking anyway, offering advantage. That's also why we dumped her ASIs into Constitution. Give her more hit points. She has resistance. She can have this magical backup, and she's still very strong. Because don't forget that the barbarian is giving her damage resistance, and because if she were to cast the turret before raging, the turret does not need concentration. Her rage will not break it. All it takes is a bonus action to command the turret to do something. The infusions on all of her magic items do not require concentration. She can infuse items, rage, and run in as a magical barbarian without losing her effectiveness. So in a sense, I think we were very fortunate that Statisticus or RNGesus or the Dice Gods, whatever you want to believe in, gave us a barbarian, because it is such an odd mix. You wonder how it works compared to, oh, we're going to go Artificer Wizard and we're just going to have all the spells and high intelligence and there we go. And that could work too. But a barbarian? Heck yeah. Look at that massive DR, the effect that you can pump up your AC, you're swinging with magical weapons, you're getting damage resistance from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from rage. And you know what happens if you put that elemental resistance on her armor? She's now also getting resistance to magic damage, to some very popular magic damage types too. You want to talk about a scary build? How about this Swole Rock Gnome who's coming for your knees with her Warhammer? And she has DR out the wazoo, a pool of hit points. She has 127 hit points. And you know that she's going to drop you before you... well, you hope that you're going to drop her before she drops you. Is this... And this is a barbarian, right? Hey, Santa, welcome. Her name is Lierza Livik. Was hoping for Ranger with the homunculus, so a Ranger would finally have a useful pet. No. You know, Trustaflump... Trustaflump pointed out that the fix to the Beastmaster Ranger... I mean, whether or not that's actually fixed or it's just a meme we all kind of snicker at now with the new FAQ, or no, the errata that was put out that adjusts Beastmaster stuff. But Trustaflump was saying that the Beastmaster Ranger was fixed by the homunculus. Well, and also, to be fair, the turrets. Because I think the turrets share it also. With... Oh, maybe not. Maybe it was just the homunculus. Might of the Master. I have 3 Beastmaster Rangers I'm stoked to play. Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I can understand why people might find it a little bit of a conundrum, or maybe in some sense they were losing out on a couple DPR. Maybe. I would like to think maybe that's a good conversation. Trust the Flump, I don't know if you want to explore that on your channel, or we could have a multi heads talking like again to compare the original Ranger to the Unearthed Arcana Ranger to the post 2018 Errata Ranger and see what's what. That could be really cool. My favorite pet class, great old one, Pact of the Chain Warlock, says Misfit. I would be excited to play this, right? In fact, Trust a Flump, what level do you know? What level are the characters that are going to be running in this Artificer, this sort of stress test inside of Roll20? Danger sense. So we have we effectively have a dexterity save with our con, with our int. We get our reckless attack. We get fast movement, so we're scurrying around very quickly. Oh, and if that weren't enough, oh my goodness. Okay, this is what she has. I just remembered. Mindless Rage. So she can't be feared or... hang on real quick. Classes, Barbarian. You can't be charmed or frightened. We have DR bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing to non-magical forces. We can get damage resistance to some elemental type through magic. And... because of our gnome, our gnomish cunning, we have advantages on saves versus magic and magical effects. This is giving us effectively in roundabout, 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. A strong dex, int, whiz, and charisma save. Plus DR to magical and non-magical sources. And we can't be charmed, and we can't be frightened. Also, while I'm thinking about this, resistant armor is only applied to a suit of armor. Enhanced defense can be applied to a shield.
Tomb of Annihilation bears MTA checks. P.
One first dibs out of Tomb of Annihilation coming up. You could stack enhanced defense with resistant armor. If you cast resistant armor on the armor and enhanced defense on the shield. Yeah, it looks like that was 11 for a TOA. Plunder Loot goaded you into it. Hey, Plunder Loot. I don't know if I said hi. If not, I'm sorry. Hello to you. It's good to see you. What a little hellion running in there and causing havoc. And what's nice is her turret makes a spell attack using her stats. So while she's up there whooping on people with her strength...
More monies. Take them.
Oh, alright, so that puts you at 19. What do you want to do with that extra $1, Trust a Flump? So she's shooting accurately as she's beating on someone with multiple attacks. Oh my gosh! she can go into a frenzy with her berserker archetype. If you frenzy, well, all right. So you would sacrifice if you want your turret to shoot. That's a bonus action. Bear with me though. You receive exhaustion for frenzying in battle, getting all of those extra attacks. However, she's not an alchemist, but there are 2 alchemists in the group that get lesser restoration a number of times per day equal to their int mod for free, removing exhaustion. This little gnome can savage people with no repercussions. Because how many times a day are you going to need to cast Lester Resto? Frenzy every battle. And if you need to, there you go. There's your turrets. Pew pew and shoot at them instead of taking that. But why not ever not frenzy? You have an alchemist to back you up with a free lesser restoration. I'm betting on a Zorbo and a Lobster Boy, says Plunderloot. Oh, extra $1 to the fund? Oh, well, thank you. We shall do that right now, and then we'll pop open a full box of TOA then. Or wait, you did say TOA, didn't you? Hang on, let me... We're at 72. Thank you very much for that. Every dollar helps. It certainly does, and I'm grateful for every bit, every dollar, every dono. Yeah, it was a tomb. Anyway, I'm so excited. There's so many options. If you want to challenge yourself and be a good DM or player, this is going to force you to learn a lot of stuff, but I hope you have fun doing it.